Welcome to Keentel Engineering. Today we're walking through power transformer testing and commissioning, the disciplined pre-energization process that protects the most expensive asset in your substation. 12 steps in the test sequence, 16 frequently asked questions, 3 field case studies, and engineering licensure across 5 states. High-voltage power transformers are among the most important and most expensive assets in any substation. Before first energization, the commissioning team has to confirm the unit is dry, undamaged in transit, and that measured ratio, polarity, and impedance all agree with the nameplate. Scope scales with the machine. A distribution unit might need a handful of checks. A large extra high-voltage bank demands a full campaign of insulation, ratio, impedance, resistance, CT, cooling, and protection testing. Here's the perspective worth holding on to. Commissioning data is the fingerprint of the transformer in its healthy as-installed condition. Every reading taken on day 1 becomes the diagnostic baseline for the rest of the asset's life. Sloppy baseline data devalues that asset for its entire service life. 12 steps make up the recommended sequence. Inspect for shipping damage and moisture ingress. Verify nameplate data and external phasing. Calibrate thermal gauges, RTDs, and alarm contacts. Wire check and Megger all wiring at 250 to 500 volts DC. Vacuum dry large banks above roughly 150 megavolt amperes. Fill with oil, take a lab sample, and record level and temperature. Power operate pumps, fans, and the tap changer. Run winding tests, TTR, impedance, and DC resistance. Load the CT circuits overall and flash for polarity. Trip check all bank protection schemes, energize and monitor currents, voltage, and tap position. And finally, run in-service checks and release with a full test report. Every nameplate matters. The main tank, the tap changer, bushing CTs, bushings, fuses, motors, and arresters each carry their own, and every field gets recorded. Terminal marking follows a standard. H marks the higher voltage winding, X the lower voltage. Viewed from the HV side, H1 sits on the right, with Y and Z added for units with 3 or more windings. On auxiliary wiring, Megger all low voltage wiring at 250 to 500 volts DC, torque every terminal, and verify drain holes and weather seals on junction boxes. For CT ratio verification, the current ratio method is preferred, ideally performed before bushings are mounted. Tap voltage ratio is a fallback only. It can't confirm true polarity. Power factor tests the bushings before insertion, then the full transformer, waiting 24 hours after oil filling before you test. Megger at 2,500 volts DC, winding to winding and winding to ground. A flat 1-minute reading tells you very little. 10 minutes is the industry standard read. The screening rule is 1 megohm per kilovolt of winding rating on that 10-minute reading. 2 ratios matter here. Polarization index is the 10-minute reading divided by the 1-minute reading. Above 2 is good, 1 to 2 is marginal, below 1 is poor. Dielectric absorption ratio is the 60-second reading divided by the 30-second reading. Below 1.25 warrants investigation. Worth remembering, DC Megger voltage mainly stresses the paper insulation, while AC power factor voltage mainly stresses the oil. The 2 tests complement each other. 5 methods exist for ratio and polarity testing. DC flashing is qualitative. An upscale kick-on makes signals subtractive polarity, downscale signals additive. The AC method is good, using the relationship between the high and low voltage windings. Voltmeter ratio testing reaches about 1% accuracy using 0.5% class meters and reveals tap changer make and break behavior. TTR is the preferred method, reaching about 0.1% accuracy, and it's required as the diagnostic baseline on every new HV transformer. One hazard worth flagging: low test voltage on the LV winding gets stepped up at the HV terminals. As little as 120 volts on a 230 kilovolts to 13.8 kilovolts bank can produce roughly 3.5 kilovolts between H-side bushings. Apply test voltage to the highest voltage winding where possible and fence off exposed areas. Impedance testing detects shipping damage, loose or high resistance connections, and core and coil shift. It's required on new installs, overhauls, internal connection changes, relocations, and after severe faults. The acceptance criteria: within 5% of nameplate at the nominal tap and within 2% between phases of the same unit. A 9.0% unit should read roughly 8.8 to 9.2% in the field. Practically, use heavy 2-0 or 4-0 shorting jumpers, clamped tight. A high-resistance short reads as high impedance. Record ratio and impedance for every tap position, and watch for connection-specific traps. Delta-delta units read roughly double their nameplate percent impedance on a single-phase test. Short all 3 secondary bushings and average the phase-to-phase readings. You cannot short just one delta winding or a Y winding without an accessible neutral. Winding resistance testing confirms there are no loose connections, discontinuities, or internal lead problems, and validates as-received condition against factory data. For method selection, use a Wheatstone bridge for windings above 1 ohm and a Kelvin bridge or 4-terminal volt-amp method for windings below 1 ohm, which excludes lead resistance entirely. Keep test current under 15% of winding rating. Temperature correction matters too. For copper, corrected resistance equals measured resistance times a ratio built from 234.5 plus base temperature over 234.5 plus measured temperature. That constant becomes 228.1 for aluminum and 241.5 for 97% hard-drawn copper. But the real hazard here is stored energy. A winding is a massive inductor. Interrupting DC test current without a discharge path can generate kilovolt-level voltages as the field collapses. Always establish a discharge path first, wait for the ammeter to read 0, then wait 5 more minutes before touching any connections. No-load tap changer testing creates an open circuit during transitions. Confirm contacts drop out and pick up cleanly, seating firmly with consistent spring pressure. Underload tap changers must never open circuit under load. Monitor excitation continuously and verify local, remote, and SCADA control across the full range. Surge arresters get Meggered at 2,500 volts DC with verification of kilovolt rating, stacking order, and grading rings on installations at 115 kilovolts and above. And for hotspot or thermal image devices, a bushing CT drives heaters that replicate the winding's hottest point. Verify performance by step-injecting current against the manufacturer's curve. Auxiliary power and cooling should run through dual sources with an automatic transfer switch. Verify phase rotation on every source and prove the transfer logic actually works. The Buchholz relay provides 2 layers of protection, a fast pressure gate trip through the lockout relay for internal faults, plus a slow gas accumulation alarm from corona-damaged oil. The sudden pressure relay gets a functional test through a controlled oil bleed. Never open the bleeder with the main valve open. For final steps, load the CT circuits overall, trip check every protective contact through the lockout relay, energize while monitoring, then soak for 8 hours before adding load. Keentel provides substation engineering, owner's engineer, and commissioning advisory services for utility, independent power producer, data center, and industrial clients, getting the baseline right the first time. That support spans transformer test plan development, factory and site acceptance test review, energization plan development, protection trip check matrices, and baseline data management. Let's recap the numbers behind this process. 12 steps in the test sequence. TTR accuracy of 0.1%, an impedance tolerance of 5% versus nameplate, a 24-hour wait before power factor testing, an 8-hour energized soak before load, and a minimum Megger screening rule of 1 megohm per kilovolt. A transmission owner relocated a 12 to 50 megavolt amperes delta Y power transformer to a new substation bay, planning a straightforward recommissioning. The challenge: relocated units can suffer core or coil shift or loosened connections from transport shock with no external evidence at all, which is exactly why impedance testing is required. 2 phases measured within the 2% phase-to-phase and 5% nameplate criteria. The third deviated on both counts, with ratio and polarity correct, pointing to mechanical displacement, not a winding fault. The unit was held out of energization and sent for internal inspection, rather than discovered later through gassing or outright failure. The takeaway: impedance testing is mandatory for relocated units, not just new ones, and per-phase comparison catches what a 3-phase average would blur. A new substation transformer with a differential scheme fed from bushing CTs was in final pre-energization testing, with secondary wiring installed against the issued drawings. The risk: a single rolled CT connection can convert healthy inrush and load current into a false differential trip, or worse, desensitized the scheme to a real fault. One bushing CT deflected downscale on make and upscale on break, reversed polarity from leads rolled at the connection box invisible to point-to-point continuity checks. The connection was corrected, the CT core demagnetized, trip checks completed, and the bank energized cleanly, avoiding a costly first energization differential trip. The takeaway: flash every bushing CT for polarity before energization. Wiring that passes continuity checks can still be rolled. A new transformer arrived at a greenfield substation after extended storage and a long shipping sequence, then proceeded through normal assembly and oil filling. The challenge: moisture doesn't show up in ratio or impedance data, and a single 1-minute Megger reading provides almost no insight on its own. One winding to ground reading sat near the screening line, with polarization index trending toward 1, dielectric absorption ratio below 1.25, and a dielectric absorption curve that flattened early. The classic moisture signature. Energization was deferred for drying. After reprocessing, polarization index recovered above 2. The curve straightened, and the unit energized on a controlled, revised schedule. The takeaway: a single 1-minute Megger reading is nearly meaningless. Record a timed series to 10 minutes and compute PI and DAR before deciding to energize. What must be verified before first energization? That the transformer is dry, undamaged in transit, with ratio, polarity, and impedance matching nameplate, insulation intact, and no wiring damage, confirmed through a full test campaign before the responsible engineer certifies it ready. Why is TTR preferred over the voltmeter method? TTR reaches about 0.1% accuracy, roughly 10 times better, and determines polarity in the same operation, making it the diagnostic baseline for future maintenance comparisons. What's the difference between subtractive and additive polarity? If adjacent HV and LV terminals share the same instantaneous polarity, it's subtractive. If diagonally opposite terminals match, it's additive. Transformers above 500 kilovolt amperes are built subtractive as a rule. What is flashing the CTs? Applying 6 to 12 volts DC to the bushings with a hot stick while watching an analog meter on the CT secondary. An upscale reading on, make and downscale on break confirms correct polarity. Does DC flashing harm the CT? It can leave residual magnetism that may contribute to saturation. Demagnetize afterward with gradually applied AC excitation driven into saturation, then reduced to 0. Why wait 24 hours after oil filling before power factor testing? Oil and cellulose insulation need time to reach equilibrium as gas dissipates and moisture redistributes. Testing sooner gives unrepresentative readings. How much impedance deviation from nameplate is acceptable? Within about 5% of nameplate at the nominal tap and within about 2% between phases of the same unit. Why does delta-delta measure double its nameplate impedance? Nameplate lists a 3-phase Y-equivalent impedance. A single-phase test on a delta-delta unit sees 2 nameplate impedances in series. What does winding resistance testing reveal? Loose connections, discontinuities, or internal lead problems, and whether shipping loosened anything inside the tank, normalized by temperature into a lifetime diagnostic benchmark. What's the biggest safety hazard in resistance testing? Stored magnetic energy. Interrupting DC current without a discharge path can generate kilovolt-level voltages as the field collapses. What are PI and DAR, and what's acceptable? Polarization index is the 10-minute Megger reading divided by the 1-minute reading, where above 2 is good. Dielectric absorption ratio is the 60-second divided by the 30-second reading, where below 1.25 warrants investigation. What's the minimum acceptable Megger reading? A liberal screening rule of 1 megohm per kilovolt of winding rating on the 10-minute reading, normalized to 20 degrees Celsius. How do no-load and underload tap changers differ during testing? No-load tap changers open circuit during transition, confirm clean contact drop and pickup. Underload tap changers must never open circuit underload. Monitor excitation continuously. What does a Buchholz relay do, and how is it tested? It provides a fast pressure gate trip for internal faults, plus a slow gas accumulation alarm from corona-damaged oil, and it's tested via built-in levers or forced dry air or nitrogen. Why energize for 8 hours before carrying load? It lets the bank prove itself under excitation before adding load stress, while crews monitor currents, voltages, tap behavior, and phasing. What is a thermal image or hotspot device? A replica sensor, a bushing CT, drives heaters in an oil well engineered to track the winding's hottest point, verified by step injection against the manufacturer's curve. Let's wrap this up. A power transformer is one of the most expensive assets in any substation, and it cannot simply be bolted down, filled with oil, and energized. Every piece of test data collected before that first energization, ratio, impedance, winding resistance, insulation readings, becomes the diagnostic baseline for the rest of that transformer's life. Get sloppy here and you're devaluing the asset for decades. TTR is the preferred method for ratio testing, accurate to 0.1%, and it's the gold standard when a shorted turn is suspected. Impedance testing catches shipping damage that's otherwise invisible. Field values need to land within 5% of nameplate. CT flash testing prevents a first energization differential trip since a rolled connection can pass a continuity check and still cause a misoperation. And insulation testing, polarization index, dielectric absorption, catches moisture before it becomes a problem because a 1-minute Megger reading alone tells you almost nothing. None of this is optional, and the winding resistance test in particular carries real stored energy hazards that demand respect. Every protective contact gets proven through the lockout relay before the bank ever sees load. If your project needs a transformer commissioning test plan or energization support, Keentel Engineering can help. Visit KeentelEngineering.com. Thanks for watching.